Hi, this is Katina, and welcome to Ask a Clarinet Teacher, where I'm going to ask you questions. So I am going to have my computer going on here, and then I actually live stream from my phone because it's a little easier for me. And so you'll see me ducking over here to read your questions because when they come up on my phone, they come up really quickly, so I miss them most of the time. And I'm going to take this moment to fix my lampshade. There it is. Perfect. So hi everybody, welcome and thank you for coming. And I already have a question up here from Horse Craver. How would you play your clarinet if your front teeth came out? So that is a great question. I've actually never had this question before, and I've never had students that have had both of their front teeth come out. So I'm going to think about it for a second. One of the options that you can try and see if this works for you, because your teeth aren't going to be out hopefully permanently, and if they are permanently, then you have some other things to talk about, and this is when you see a dentist or an orthodontist, and I am not there for that. But you can try the double lip embouchure and see how that works for you. So the double lip embouchure is when, you know how you have your bottom lip on your bottom teeth like this, and then with the double lip you actually put your top lip under your top teeth as well. There are a lot of professional clarinetists that play this way. It gives you a beautiful dark sound. It's one of the tools I use as a teacher when I have students that are biting, because you can't bite with double lip. It really hurts because the top lip is a little more sensitive than the bottom lip. So I want you to try that. So if you have your top teeth are out, curling your top lip over your other teeth that are still there and see if that works for you. One of the challenges with clarinet is sealing, and the top lip will help you do that if you have that gap in that place. But let me know how this goes. If this is, so I think this was Horse Craver, right? So if this is you, let me know how it goes. But if you're just wondering, now I'm just wondering too, and I'm going to put it out there. I'm in a whole bunch of teacher societies and clarinet societies, so I will ask other people if they've had this situation. I've never had people with both teeth at the same time. I've had people with, one tooth out. I have half a cap on one of my teeth. I've actually broken that. It's a big fear of mine that it's going to break on the day of a concert, or, I have a big recital coming up. So I've actually had a dentist appointment right before big concerts of mine just to double check it to make sure it's okay, just because I'm so neurotic. But yeah, it's got to come up. Usually clarinetists start after they've gotten their adult teeth, but that doesn't necessarily hold true because everybody's on a different timeline. So that was a great question. Thank you very much. If it becomes an issue, I could see how you would go to a dentist and have, it's not an implant, but, they can actually have fake teeth in there that you can have, and that might help you play the clarinet as well. But that's a good one. You stumped me on that one. All right, next question. Double lip solved so many, this is Man of Suits. Double lip solved so many problems for me, especially intonation. Oh, that's an interesting one. So I'm going to use a little bit of my Sherlock Holmesian powers of deduction. If you were having intonation problems, were you biting? And if you were biting, were you sharp? And then when you did double lip, you couldn't bite anymore and you had to open up your oral cavity as well. And did that lower your pitch and help you stabilize your pitch? That is really interesting. That is one of the things that happened with me too. I was one of those people that would bite and play sharp. My teacher had me doing double lip as well to help with that. Okay, next question. How do I fix a bass clarinet that has a lot of tarnish and jacked up keys? Oh, bummer. So the bass clarinets that we get from schools, and I talk about this a lot in the Ask a Clarinet Teacher, they are so brutally abused. I feel so sad for these bass clarinets. And when you get one, I just beg all of us that are using the school instruments for bass clarinets just to give them extra love. Leave them better than when you got them. So I'm really glad you're asking this question about the tarnished keys and the jacked up keys there. So I usually have a polishing cloth around. I think I put mine away. You can see I'm looking around for it right now. This is actually for my glasses, but you can get a polishing cloth. We use them for silver. Trumpet players and brass players are going to know what we're talking about as well. So if you need extra help guiding, getting one of these, ask your brass player friends. They all know about them. And so it has a little bit of a chemical in there that you can use to polish your keys. So you can use that to help with the tarnished keys. But listen, if it's really tarnished, it might be beyond help with a polishing cloth. And that would be something where you would take that bass clarinet to a repair person to have them look at that. Sadly, you might need to get it replated, and that's not something that's in many school budgets. But if this is a clarinet that you bought used, it's worth it getting replated. It looks nicer. It raises its resale value. So those things are actually worth it. But with the polishing cloth, you can polish your key. When we're all done playing, we can polish our keys. You know, polish. You can, even with this that I use for my glasses, I can wipe this down before I put it in my case, and that will help prevent tarnish. You can also buy little tarnished papers, these little papers, anti-tarnish papers, and you can just put them in your case, and that'll help prevent the tarnish as well. Rubber mouthpieces sometimes cause instruments to have tarnish too. So if you have a brand new silver plated clarinet and you notice it's getting tarnished, it could be your mouthpiece, and or it could be your pencil eraser. So I'll have students pull the pencils out of their cases to see if that helps, and it usually does. And if it's your mouthpiece, you can just put your mouthpiece in a little mouthpiece patch, keep it separate. But usually it's rarely the mouthpiece. Jacked up keys is a different story totally, and that one I am going to back away very, very gently and send you to your nearest professional repair person for that, because I have seen bass clarinets where these keys are bent and really bent, and I don't want to think that people kind of mess with the keys. Sometimes people drop the bases, sometimes people drop the cases, and these cases are usually in terrible condition, so these keys can get bent very easily. Plus, with a bass, they're much longer, the mechanism, so it's easy for these keys to get bent. I hesitate on my own side with pushing keys back into place, moving keys around. That's something where I've actually done it on my own, and I've made my clarinet much worse. I had the BE key wasn't seating, so I tried to readjust the crow's foot myself, and I made it worse, and I ended up having to go to a repair person anyway. All that being said, if you're into that and that's something you want to learn about, tell the repair person. Say, hey, you know what? This is something I'm really curious about. Can I hang out with you while you're working on this instrument? 9 times out of 10, they're going to say yes. One, they repair people. Two, it's super flat. Somebody's really excited and into. And three, most of us in the music world, like what we're doing right now, is an oral tradition of sharing our knowledge together. So my clarinet upbringing was very much apprentice mentor relationship with my teachers, and so that's the same way a lot of these repair people have learned too. They learned by saying to somebody else, hey, it's really cool what you're doing, can I watch what you're doing and learn from you? So if you're into it and you're curious about it and you meet a professional repair person, ask them if you can shadow them, or if they're taking any apprentices or interns. It might be a really cool way to learn more about our instruments, and then you can fix those jacked up keys. And you can start charging people. Like if you learn how to do it and you're doing a good job, you could go around to the bands and say, listen, I can fix these bass clarinets for you. So it's actually, you know, a great way to start making some money. And it's not necessarily babysitting. That's, you know, nothing wrong with that, but it's building a skill, and people need repair people. Trust me. It's a big lack of repair people, especially specific for bass clarinet and clarinet, oboe. And maybe flute a little bit, bassoon definitely. So any of us woodwind players with these really complicated keys, it's a bummer to take your clarinet to a chain music store, and they're really only good at working on guitars, because that's what they do mainly, and maybe trumpets, and then you end up getting a clarinet that's not repaired properly. So there is a need for clarinet repair people. So sorry, I can't tell you how to fix it, but there are people out there that can. If you're in the Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Maryland area, I suggest reaching out to Wes Rice. He's fantastic. And there's a lot of clarinet people around the world. So, and if you want to message me about that and where your location is, I can help connect you with somebody. Okay, next question. When I play the clarinet, my mouth is in the right place, but air leaks out. Why does the air leak out? Oh my gosh, Horse Craver, that is like the bane of my existence, is the air leaking out. And I'll go back and listen to recordings of myself, and I'm super bummed about the air leaking out. That is because we are not sealing properly with our embouchure. And the way to solve that is actually constant vigilance. I always think of Mad Eye Moody, constant vigilance. So the moment you leak, you have to stop playing, unless you're in a concert or something, and fix it. And so for me, and everybody's different, I know my leak is usually on this side and I'm not sealing enough with my upper lip in the corner. So I think of bringing that upper lip forward and sealing more. More like I'm pulling my embouchure into a pucker. A lot of times when we're embouchure, and I'm showing you right here, people exaggerate and go back too much. You want to bring it forward so there's a little bit of a pucker right there in the corners. We say ew, like we're French, right? So, and you can hear it. Actually, I'll do it. I'll pull my lips back a little bit and you'll hear the air leak. And then it seals up. So try bringing them forward a little bit. Another thing that you can do, my teacher David Krakauer taught me this, is you can rotate your clarinet a little bit in your mouth. Going back to talking about our teeth, not all of our teeth are even in the front. And so, a perfect embouchure or a perfect placement of the clarinet for you might not of the clarinet for me. So it's very disconcerting, but if you go look up some videos of David Krakauer playing, he's playing off to the side a little bit. And that's so that he doesn't have that leak because of just the structure of his face. So for me, I can rotate my clarinet and also find that place where I have the leak, because my cap tooth I was talking about is a little bit higher up than my natural, healthy tooth. So try those things to see if they can help with your leak, and then long tones to build up your strength in there so that you have endurance for keeping the good embouchure to prevent that leak from happening. Okay, Man of Suit says, don't polish too much, you'll rub it down to the bare metal. I've done it, LOL. Yeah. Yeah, and my fingers naturally wear it down too. So this clarinet is a couple years old now, but my other clarinet that was 20 years old, on my low, my E flat key right here, it had worn down past the silver to the copper that's on there, that's in between the nickel and the silver, and it looked pretty, but it also showed me one of my bad habits. So it's possible I was resting in there a little bit too much and cheating with my hand position. And then sometimes I'll see it here with people when they do rod holding. It'll wear down there as well. So some people have just fingers that wear it down, but yeah, definitely you want to avoid polishing the silver right off your keys. So thank you, Man of Zeus, for saying that. That is good advice. Too much at once or too hard. Yeah, you're following up with it a little bit. Horse Craver, so I'm really good at the clarinet. I'm going to 5th grade, and the band teacher wants me to have a solo. I'd be really nervous. Oh, that's a good question for nerves. So we all face this, right? And what the bummer about getting nervous is that our body doesn't know the difference between being nervous about a solo and nervous about a bear trying to eat us. So we react the same way physically. It doesn't make sense, but it's just the way we're wired. So we have the fight, flight, or freeze. I'm a freezer. I have learned this from clarinet, and also from that time the raccoons tried to kill my cat, and I completely froze and was totally useless. So find out which one you are, usually helps. But my suggestion for feeling nervous before a solo, if you're sitting in a chair, sit up straight, sit at the edge of the chair. We talk about it all the time for breathing, but it also helps with body awareness. You want your feet flat on the ground. So as a woman that plays a lot of concerts, I don't wear high heels as much anymore because I felt that I wasn't able to ground myself well with high heels. They make me nervous. Now, my brother, if he's going to shoot me for saying this, he can wear those high heels and win those races in them. But I use the flat shoes, make me feel better and more secure with that feeling of my heel and the what's that other part? The palm part of your foot, the heel and the, write that in there. I don't remember what it's called, but you want to have nice solid grounding for your feet, sitting up straight, and think of pulling like a string pulling you straight up. and that will just lift up your body position. It will pull your shoulders back, okay? And this is a power pose. So when I have a big solo that I'm super nervous about, before I play it, if I have a moment before I go on stage, I go into the bathroom and I put my arms back, or I'll put them up like this, and I'll breathe. I'll pull the air from above down into my body, and sometimes I'll be like, woo! And these are all power poses that make you feel strong and confident. Um, Unless you're a very strong and confident person, maybe not do it in front of a whole bunch of people, but you can definitely do it in the stall of a bathroom. Now, it does have the added bonus of helping us breathe more deeply, quickly. So we're not taking good breaths. I see it all the time in my students, and when I judge competitions, they start pulling in this way. It's very natural to protect yourself. And so when they do that and their shoulders are in and they're breathing like that, it's harder for them to get a good solid breath, and they get more and more nervous. So think about pulling your shoulders back, sitting up straight. If you're standing, also feel that connection of your feet on the ground. Now, I know plenty of women that feel that connection better with high heels. Do it. I'm just not one of them. And so when you feel that connection, it will help you also breathe better in your whole body, which will calm you down. So these are some of the things you can do to calm yourself down physically at that moment. You can also eat bananas. Bananas are a natural beta blocker, so you can eat bananas that sort of slow you down a little bit and calm you down a little bit. I won't drink coffee a week before a performance. It's just too much for me. I'm one of those people that can't even have 2 cups of coffee a day because my heart starts flying away like a little bird. So I just disconnect from caffeine, and that includes sodas too, and sugary things. So I just take a little bit of break, and then after my performance, I will absolutely treat myself to whatever that sweet thing I wanted to have that I didn't get to have. So those are some of the things that you can do leading up into it. Once again, not clarinet related. For me, as a clarinetist, I really need to feel solid with my practice routine and my preparation. So I will practice a lot. And in the old days, I practiced too much, and I practiced inefficiently. I thought that if I practiced 6 to 7 hours a day, I would be prepared. And that is not how it works, because I wasn't practicing efficiently or well. Once I got out of that mindset and started focusing on a problem-solving mindset, like, okay, where am I making the mistakes? Stop right here, fix the mistake, build into that place, and then build a little further, and then leave that place, and then do a lot of repetitions of that solid spot that I fixed. And if it's not fixed, then I go back and do it again. And sometimes this will take me days, and sometimes it'll take me weeks to get a spot right so that I feel confident about it. That is my ideal version of practicing and preparing for a recital or a big solo. Sometimes I can't do that. I just have a bit, I have a life, and I have other things I need to do. So when I was in graduate school in New York City, I was doing a lot of things in New York, and now I'm a mom, and I have a day job, and so I don't get to practice the way that I once did. So that efficient practicing is really, really, really important. And I don't get to prepare the way that makes me feel powerful and confident. So what I have learned to do is go into it and just do my best, and be kind to myself and forgive myself for mistakes. If you were my student, all of you that I'm looking at right now that I can't see, but you can see me, if all of you were in my studio, I would never ever speak to you or treat you the way I treat myself when I make a mistake, or at least when I used to. I used to be very, very hard on myself in a way that was very inhumane. So I have learned to forgive myself for mistakes and to let it go. Brain surgeon, I am not an air traffic controller. I'm allowed to make mistakes. And the mistake that I've made is not nearly as deep for me. So that's one of the other things that helps me with nerves, is just, loving who I am and forgiving myself for mistake and letting it go. But trust me, that's really hard. I can count on my, I can definitely remember big mistakes I've made, 25 years ago. Like, oh man, I was doing the Grand Partita and I missed those 4/16 notes. Nobody remembers this, only me. And so, sometimes I'll treat myself to going back and playing it again, nice and slowly at home, or, up to tempo, and being like, I can do it. But my big advice is just, be kind to yourself. Okay, next question. These are great questions today. I love this. Okay, the ball. palm of your foot. I'm like, what is it? The palm? The palm of your foot? That fleshy part. Thank you. Who was that said that? Oh, that was Horse Craver. Okay, so going back, Joshua Lewis says, what's your setup? Okay, so I have a couple setups. My bass clarinet is over in the corner. So my B flat setup. I have a Buffet Prestige clarinet. I have a Rice Clarinet Works barrel on here and a Rice Clarinet Works bell. My mouthpiece is a Bakun O mouthpiece. I don't remember what it is. It wore off. Today I'm using a Rovner Platinum ligature that's gold, but it's called the Platinum. And then my reed is a D'Addario Reserve. I can actually take it off. 4. So this is a D'Addario Reserve Classic. Oh, and I just dropped my ligature. Which is okay because I have carpet in here. But if it was on a tile floor, I would be very sad right now. So that's my setup. My A clarinet is an R13 from the 70s, the golden years of R13s from the Buffets. And then my, I think I have a Hadash barrel on that one. My bass clarinet is Selmer, low C extension bass, and I have Selmer C-Star mouthpiece with a Matheson facing on that. And then I use a Bernard ligature. My E-flat clarinet is an RC by Buffet. I have a little Rice Clarinet Works barrel on that, which is adorable. And then I have a Van Doren B44 mouthpiece. And for my E-flat clarinet reeds, I actually will use soft 4 reeds. So when I'm playing through my box of 4 reeds for B-flat clarinet, if they're a little too soft for me on B-flat, I actually use them on E-flat. I don't use E-flat reeds. And then for bass reeds, sometimes I use tenor saxophone reeds if I feel like it, like size 3.5 or 3, and then I use D'Addario 3s for my bass. I also have an alto clarinet, and that's a Yamaha, and I have a Hawkins mouthpiece for that. So those are, that's my setup for those. Okay, so I'm going to scroll back a little bit. Horse Craver says that happened to me too. Buy a softer reed and the sound will be gone. Somebody said something about a sound. I missed that one. Okay. What strength is my reed? I use a 4. And hi, I met you at Clarinet Camp. Oh my gosh, somebody's here from the Mason Summer Clarinet Academy. Yay! Yeah, we did it online. Oh wait, did you meet me at Miss Sheridan's clarinet? Oh no, toodle noodle. You met me at Miss Sheridan's Clarinet Camp. And I was very happy to meet you, and I was very happy to talk about my YouTube channel, and we will just bypass my big mistake that I made when I was there, which I haven't done since then, nor have I done that ever before. So, hi, thank you for coming, and then we will just pretend it never happened. Okay, so DSW20 has an Artley. I think those are good clarinets, and then Artley clarinet. And Horse Craver says, since I'm really good at the clarinet, I'm going to grade. Should I get a higher level reed? Oh, great question. Okay, so with the reeds, this is how reeds work. It has to do with your embouchure and your mouthpiece and your internal mouth cavity and what you're going for with your clarinet goals, what kind of sound you're going for. And let's say if we rewind back to maybe intonation problems or squeaking or your sound is too spread and things like that, you can fix all of that with changing your reed. So my reed advice is if you're feeling like your reed is too soft, if your sound is too spread, if it's too free blowing and it's very easy to overblow, try this up. If you're using a 2 reed, please just go to a 2.5. That's the only time I usually make a blanket statement about that, unless you're doing that great Arabic music or you're playing historical clarinet or you're doing a lot of crazy klezmer and jazz, and that's what you're going for with classical music and classical band music. So I recommend going up to the 2.5. Polycrystal, D'Addario, the Kuhn mouthpieces, these are becoming very reasonably priced mouthpieces. So definitely upgrade your mouthpiece for the stock mouthpiece, if anything. So Horse Craver, to answer your question, if you're getting serious about the clarinet, I would make sure you have a good mouthpiece. Everything starts there. And if you're feeling like your reed is a little too soft for you, then go up. But it doesn't have anything to do with age or even ability. It's really about what your goals are, what your mouthpiece is, and what your facial structure is, and how good your embouchure is. Make sure you've got a good embouchure too. Okay. So what do I think of bamboo reeds? Reeds made from bamboo? I've never tried that. I know that they're made from cane that's grown in France, and I don't remember the scientific name. I did used to know that because I am a nerd. But I don't remember it anymore. So I don't know. I would love to try a cane reed. I know some people are 3D printing reeds. I absolutely want to try that. I've tried some of the plastic reeds or some of the synthetic reeds, and I actually really like them. I prefer the cane reeds for me personally, but if I had an opportunity to try bamboo, I absolutely would. And if you figure out how to make one, that'd be great, because bamboo is an invasive species in the United States. It's non-native, so cut it all down and make reeds out of it. Okay, so I play in a 3.2. I've seen 3.5 or 3.0, but not 3.2, so that's interesting. How long have I been playing the clarinet? Okay, that's a great question. So I'm 45, and I really started when I was about 15. That's when I actually really got into it. I started in 4th grade, which was early for clarinet, and then we moved, and then my new school had band practice at 8 o'clock in the morning, and my mom wouldn't drive me because she didn't like getting up that early. Love you, Mom. Later on, she goes to drive me to clarinet lessons that are an hour away each direction, so she's forgiven. So I didn't play clarinet for a bunch of years because band practice was too early for my mom. And picked it up again more seriously when I was around 15, so 30 years now. Okay, moving on to the next one. I got a brand new Yamaha clarinet, and it was $1,000. Horse Craver. I love the Yamaha clarinets, and depending on which one you got, that's a great price. And I mean, it's a great price, and depending on which one you got, it could be an even greater price, depending, because clarinets can get up into the multiple thousands of dollars. But Yamahas are on point for intonation. They're wonderful instruments, so I really like them. The only thing that's a little weird about Yamahas, and it's not a bad weird, it's just their bells. Their bells are a little bit smaller. So this part of their upper joint is just a little bit longer into here, so you have a little smaller bells. So if you want to do any of these specialty bells, you just have to take consideration so you're not flat. Okay. What the mistake was. Okay, listen, since we're all here among friends and we cannot tell anybody else I did this, especially you two, because then I will lose my special, thing that I have as being family friendly. I said the F word by accident. It was awful because the woman that runs that music camp is one of my best friends from college, and she made fun of my age, and then I said the word because I forgot that there were 57 other people on the conversation. So it was all in good fun, but very, very bad and very awkward, and I felt really terrible about it. But I know you guys have heard that word before, but there's these expectations when you're an adult that you don't do things like that. And plus, I was a guest, so it wasn't even my camp. So yes, that's what I did. I was bad. Okay, lag. Bye. I'm gonna go. Bye, Horse Craver. Man of Suits. I'm working on 3D printing reeds, and you're ordering bamboo filament. Oh my gosh! If you want me to do a review on the YouTube channel about your reeds or anything like that, just let me know. Stay in touch. I'm very excited about what you're doing. I had no idea you could buy other filaments like wood and stuff for 3D printing. I just assumed it was all plastic, and I am super into the 3D printing. Did you see the one where there was the toucan and hacked his beak off, and they 3D printed him a new beak, and he could eat again? It was crazy. And then out in areas where there's a lot of upheaval and unrest, people are going into museums and knocking over statues. They've been 3D printing the faces back, damaged statues, the parts that were broken off. I am so excited about it. So I've been seeing 3D mouthpieces, 3D printed clarinets, 3D printed barrels. So stay in touch with your reed. I'm really excited. Okay, stop motion. You've got laggingness. Oh, I hope it's not lagging because of me. But thank you for saying great video. And the audio is cutting in and out. Oh no. Okay, sorry everybody. If you're having problems on my end, my apologies. And Man of Suits is going to keep in touch about the reeds, and you're going to look into the barrels. So this was a good one. Thank you everybody for coming. I'm going to sign off now. Oh, DSW20 really wants an E-flat piccolo clarinet. The day I got my E-flat clarinet was one of the best days. I mean, it was a great day. I mean, I've had other great days since then, having kids and things like that, getting married. But getting that E-flat clarinet was a great day. The trick is with E-flats is if you buy one used, you've you've got to really vet that thing and make sure it's in good shape, because you know how E flats are. You have to be very careful about making sure they're really solid quality, because they're tricky to control with intonation and sound. But it's a good thing to save up your money for and work for, and but they're fun and they're worth it. They're really fun to play. Okay, everybody, thank you very much for coming. It was great having a chance to chat with all of you, and have a wonderful week and happy clarinet playing.